The flipped classroom. The development of several trends drive the emergence of flipped classroom. Firstly, technological development makes the world's leading instructors' lectures reach across the world. Then, policy makers, scholars, advocacy groups and others demand the evidence of learning achievement. These forces motivate instructors to rethinking of instructional design. Flipped classroom, which is an issue of 21st century, is supposed to be widely applied in schools and colleges in coming years. There are 6 parts in this presentation as what, why, how, benefits, limitations and conclusion.
What is a flipped classroom? Bergman and Sams firstly coined the term flipped classroom, and they defined it as that is traditionally done in class is now done at home, and that which is traditionally done as homework is now completed in class. The flipped classroom is a pedagogical model in which the typical lecture and homework elements of a course are reversed. In 1998, the inverted classroom model was developed for students' attainment of learning before class, and then emphasis of using higher-order skills in class. Then the flipped classroom model has spread widely to other teachers, professors and professional development educators. Studies found that this method can be used in multiple disciplines such as history, physics, biology, and economics classes. Besides, a variety of tools can be used to get first exposure of learning before class. Students are responsible to finish worksheets. All time-intensive activities are used during class, and finally, a certain kind of assessment is used. This is the design of flipped classroom. Why do we need this new design? The purpose of education has been questioned about the demonstration of student learning. The society expects students to retain and use knowledge upon graduation. This increasing accountability demands faculty to move from being a sage on the stage to more of a guide on the side. A sage on the stage is an instructor who transmits knowledge to students through lecture, whereas a guide on the side supports and corrects students to explore the content independently or in group work. In a traditional learning, teacher gives lecture in class and he is present only for lower cognitive levels of learning. Students are supposed to do higher cognitive learning activities in the absence of teachers. Besides, giving lecture alone has been criticized as an ineffective way to learning knowledge and skills. Research on lecture has demonstrated that students' attention declines after the first 10 minutes of class, and it may revive at the end of class, and students remember only 20% of material presented during the lecture. This teaching method is far away from challenging thinking, solving problems and encouraging direct application of materials through active learning. This is not the case in the flipped classroom. There are 4 pillars essential to flipped classroom. Flexible learning environment. Students can select when and where they watch videos, participate in all-time activities. A shift in the learning culture. Focuses on student learning than teacher-directed instruction. The use of intentional content and active instructional methods to maximize learning outside the class and in class time. Professional educators. They can competently monitor, facilitate and assess student learning. How to implement the flipped classroom. King's ideal of the guide on site is grounded on the constructivist learning theory. This theory indicates genuine knowledge cannot get through transmission between instructors and students. Knowledge needs to be constructed by individuals by trying to make sense of new information to their previous knowledge. So, in this design, what is traditionally done in class and as homework are switched. There are 3 sessions for a class, and they are before class, during class and after class. To develop online mini lectures, teachers can obtain videos, news and blogs from free educational sites. They can develop lessons by using video creation softwares, presentation softwares and screen capture softwares. After learning online content before class, students could master lower-level learning skills. In the while class session, active learning strategies can be used to achieve higher-order thinking skills. The construction and reconstruction of knowledge can be done through the use of various learning strategies such as problem-solving, project-based learning, inquiry-based learning, game-based learning, simulations, case study and think, pair, share. These methods can motivate learners to reach higher-order thinking skills and genuine achievement. In the after-class session, assessment plays an important part and should be aligned with the objectives of course. Assessment can be either formative or summative, such reflective writing, summarizing or presentation, exam and project presentation. Now turn to the benefits of flipped classroom. Research found more significant learning gains of flipping classroom and physics teaching than traditional classes. Strayer suggests students will be more conscious and reflective on their own learning process and achievement. This approach provides teachers to use a variety of technologies. There will be more communication and connection between instructor and students. Teacher can identify the extent of student grasp of information and learning. Hesitant learners will ask questions during individual feedback sessions. Students can play lectures repeatedly until they can formulate questions. Absent students can access the missed lectures and students can move forwards in the absence of teachers. There are other advantages such as development of lifelong learners, increased engagement in the material, students' more learning achievement, more attendance and positive attitudes on flipping the class compared to traditional methods. Therefore, flipped class increases learner-centered instruction. Students are provided opportunities to review material in their convenient time. However, this new design has some limitations. This teaching approach may not be applicable to all subjects. For example, Strayer's study in statistics class found that students felt less satisfied with new method. Some students were not comfortable to take part in group works. Instructor finds it difficult to adapt traditional lectures to alternative media in posting content online. Students are responsible to learn online content regularly. They require to answer questions to prove their learning. Financial limitations can be a barrier to some public schools, teachers and students to get internet connectivity outside of classroom. This kind of learning requires all time-intensive activities which are not natural to educators. Part of learning achievement depends on students' willingness to take part outside of class. It needs them to prepare for in-class activities. Professional development program plays an important role to reduce these limitations. Teachers can be provided pedagogical knowledge in practical activities related to flipped classroom. They might experience on using technology in education in these programs. Besides, classroom-based teacher trainings might be one solution to reduce limitations. Financial limitations could be reduced based on the organizational skills of principals, teachers and community support. In conclusion, the key elements of the flipped classroom are provision of opportunity for students to gain first exposure prior to class. Provision of incentive for students to prepare for class. Getting a mechanism to assess student understanding. Using in-class activities for higher-level cognitive skills. Therefore, it can be assumed that flipped classroom is one of the 21st century issue. It might be popular in other countries in coming years. This new approach can promote ownership of learning, student achievement and also teachers are challenged to use new technological tools and educational softwares.